Hi everyone, it's Erin Spencer here. I'm going to go over my cultural people bag with you. So I'll start with my bag itself. It is a reusable shopping bag and it says Candesca Sakana Community College on it. Sorry, I can't quite get it in the picture there. Um, it kind of has three representations for me. And the first is it was part of a thank you gift bag that the community, the Spirit Lake Sioux Tribe, gave us when my team was recently out doing some veterinary work out there. And I'll talk more about what I do in a bit, but this bag kind of represented the community I go to and some of the work I do. It was recognition of that work. The second piece is it's a reusable shopping bag, and I definitely am someone who is an advocate of recycling and taking care of our earth because we only have one. So that's the second part. And the third one's totally superficial. I just like a good bag. If there's a bag being given away, I will take it. I have probably more bags than anybody needs. So that's just a little bit kind of about me to sum up this bag that I put all my stuff in. And before I get into what's in the bag, I just kind of wanted to talk for a minute about how difficult this has been. Both the cultural self-assignment and putting this together, I really had some trouble on how to get started, and I really haven't thought that much about what my culture is. I've thought about some of my ancestry, but not necessarily my culture. And I've learned through reading that being part of the dominant group, that is somewhat normal, that I haven't thought about my culture, that there's probably others just like me. But in the Spradley reading, there was talk about there are three things that the researcher needs to kind of look at, and that's kind of what people do, what people know, and the things that people make and use. And I took those three things and then moved on. And I also felt like in that reading it talked about how the anthropologist they have to, the researcher has to kind of look at, the quote was, understand another way of life from the native point of view. That's the quote that I took away. And in these two assignments, I've not only felt, I'm obviously the native that's being studied, and I've had to become the researcher to study that native that was myself. So it's been a little weird, but I definitely thought that Spradley reading helped me refocus. I returned to it and kind of read through it again, and it gave me a game plan of how to attack these two assignments. So now I'll show you what I came up with after I figured that out. So the first one's kind of silly, but this is an ornament of a curling stone. So curling stone curling is a Scottish, originated in Scotland, so a Scottish sport, but it's very popular in Canada. While my name is Erin and my maiden name was Dennehy, which led people to assume I was 100% Irish. I'm not. There's Irish in there, but I also have Scottish and lots of other things. And my Scottish ancestry is what I've truly connected to the most. And my Canadian roots even more so. Those kind of the Scottish came to Canada, then some came down to New England. And I definitely, that's what I connect with. That's the part of the family I connect with. Those are the areas that I connect with. And this weird sport that I used to watch every summer when I was in Canada and not understand has become something that I really hold very dear, and I enjoy watching curling, and I do take some pride in the fact that it's Scottish when I watch it. So that's my curling stone to start. Then my next one, which is missing in here, here it is. My next one also has to do with sports. You would think I was really huge into sports, but I'm not an athlete. We'll talk about that later. So let me see if I can get it up here. That is my Boston Bruins pendant, and you can see me wearing it during any playoff season until the Bruins are out, but also when I attend 1 or 2 games a year, and when I'm watching TV at home, I'll usually throw it on. I'm definitely a huge Bruins fan, and that's a product, I think, of being from New England. You have to love some sports team. The Bruins aren't always the top one, but people are usually looking at the Patriots, but the Red Sox. I'm a big Bruins fan, though. I love hockey. Again, goes back to Canada, I think. So, that's kind of again, superficial part of my culture, but at the same time, New England does have a huge sports culture, and if you don't know what's going on, then you sometimes get a funny look if you don't know that the Patriots lost last night. My husband does not watch sports at all, but he usually will know when a Patriots game has happened, who's won, because you hear it everywhere. So those are my first two kind of more just kind of top end things. So The next one that I'm going to show is my wedding picture, which you can, sorry the lighting is a little funny, but there's me, there's my husband, and that's our daughter Lexi. We don't have any two-legged kids, we just have the one four-legged kid. She's actually laying on the floor right now and trying to be quiet. So that picture represents a few things about me. Represents that I am married woman, and again, that picture was in Canada where I got married. It represents that I don't have children, so I'm not a mother in the traditional sense. But we definitely do have, my outlook on animals is one that I am a caretaker, and she is a part of the family. So that definitely speaks to how I feel about animals and how I feel about the human and animal bond. And so I actually take that kind of segue to go into what I do for a living, which is I work as a veterinary technician. And my outlook on animals in general in the veterinary field has definitely changed over time, and goes back to when I talked about my bag, my actual bag at the beginning of this, that I do a lot of free clinics. We go out to native reservations and go to some very remote areas that they don't either have the resources financially, or a lot of times it's not even just that, it's also that location-wise there's no veterinarian for them to go to, and we go perform free surgeries. And I very much am focused. I went through the whole climbing the corporate ladder in a big veterinary company where I was managing 90 people, and realized it wasn't just about the medicine and the business. I really wanted to get back to the care and the empathy for the animals. And so I had been volunteering and then got a job with this nonprofit. This has also led me to do a lot more teaching. Our program is a teaching one where we bring vet students along too. And so that kind of leads me to my next artifact in my bag. So if you look closely, this is a Master's of Science degree from Boston University. It is not mine. It is Jean Murphy Bain, who was my great aunt. And she recently passed away just probably a few months ago, I guess. And when the family was kind of talking about what would people like to take as mementos and what not to remember her by, everyone else was asking for china and dining room sets, and I asked for her degrees. The reason being, I looked closely as well, this degree was granted in 1969, and it was her Master's of Science in Nursing. And she went on to be a vice president of a hospital in our area. She was the first woman I knew that really was that high in a company, and she taught me you could do that. So that piece represented for me not only strong women, but also education, and education has been huge for me, as well as advancing through my career. And that kind of goes to my next little thing, which is my little pin, which it says AVECT VTS. A VTS is a veterinary technician specialist, and it's kind of the highest thing you can achieve as a veterinary technician currently, highest certification. And I did get my certification in emergency critical care, and I did that because I do really believe in the advancement of both myself, the advancement of women, and the advancement of the veterinary technology field. And so all of those things kind of coming together kind of culminated in that VTS. So I'm running a little low on time, so I'm sorry I'm speaking fast, but my last one goes back to another kind of teaching that I've done. For most of my life, if you asked what I was, I would tell you I was a dancer. And this is a picture of me with one of my students from years ago. That was my first foray into teaching and learning that I loved to teach. I love to teach dancing. I've taught anywhere from 3 to 30. It was really just around when I was about 35 that I kind of stopped. And this is just another picture. Those kind of go together. I count them as one artifact. Let's see, there I am. So this is a performance that we did years ago. It was actually an Alvin Ailey performance, for any of you that have heard of Alvin Ailey. And dancing definitely is kind of just an expression. My ballet, tap, jazz shows kind of where my roots are. But the more important thing I think that I got out of it, and especially having done this assignment, really thought about it, was my idea of beauty, and that beauty is internal. Even people that don't really know what they're watching when they come to see a performance of dance, somewhere deep down know that you can watch someone technically execute something and it can be nice, but if they don't have the emotion and they don't have what's inside, then they didn't really dance it. And that was a huge thing for me, and it's an outlook on my life that you can't just be, it really taught me to not be superficial, and also taught me to be comfortable in my body. All right, so I'm just over 10 minutes and I don't want to be over anymore, so I'm going to wrap that up. And thank you guys all for listening, and I look forward to seeing your videos. Thanks.